What's the problem here, man? You come out 5 minutes late, then I hear you punch Max in the stomach. No reason. You're smashing his phone. What's wrong with you? What's the problem? Huh?
Chris?
What?
I told you. I told you December 9th, 2020, right here on Dynamite. If one more thing happened with him, that I was done. And so I'm out here to tell you, I'm done.
What do you mean that you're done? What do you mean?
I mean I'm done. I mean I quit the Inner Circle.
Hello, you're listening to another episode of Talk AEW, the official wrestling podcast of GoombaStomp.com and TiltMagazine.net. As usual, I'm joined once again by the ravishing Ricky D, editor of GoombaStomp and Tilt Magazine.
Hola, what's up, Mariko?
Not much. In fact, what is up is our returning guest, Mr. Aaron Santos.
Hello.
Welcome back, Eric. Very excited to have you with us again. So, like we did last week, we're going to start off the show with Ricky once again has some questions for us, some rapid fire questions. Then we are going to be talking about Sammy Guevara, what's happening with him, what's happening with the Inner Circle, and finally, to round things out, we're going to do another recap of the women's Eliminator tournament. And I think Aaron and I are just going to rave for about 25 minutes about the Serena Deeb Riho match. So you have that to look forward to. All right, Ricky, let's get to the questions.
All right, Ricky's rapid fire questions to quickly touch on everything that happened on AEW this past week. So question number 1, who do you think makes the most money based on his AEW contract and the amount of merchandise that each wrestler sells? Adam, Hangman Page, and or Matt Hardy?
Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Matt Hardy.
I want to say Matt Hardy, but for some reason I think that Hangman might sell more t-shirts. When it comes to action figures, I'm pretty sure they're almost even.
Really?
I think it's going to be close, but I'm pretty sure Matt Hardy has a bigger contract because he's a bigger star that came from WWE.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet Page sells more merch. Anyways, next question. This week, we got an announcement of a big money match. Are we sick and tired of stipulation matches? Are they boring, or are you okay with this?
I think we're all more interested in the other stipulation match that was announced last night. Because I think all of the internet went to the internet to try and find out what the heck Kenny Omega was talking about.
Oh, really?
Oh, we're talking about the barbed wire explosion.
Barbed wire death match.
Okay, I'm gonna keep mentioning this documentary series, and I actually should reach out to the director and get him on the podcast. Watch The Wrestlers. It's on Viceland. A lot of episodes are on YouTube, and if you live in Canada, you can watch it on Crave. There's an entire episode about Japanese hardcore wrestling, and they show what those matches are about and where they came from. Once again, it's called The Wrestlers. It's fantastic. But my point is that with this specific stipulation match, it doesn't mean much for us, the fans. Like, okay, sure, maybe so-and-so is going to lose his money. Do I care? We know it's fake, right? It's not like we're going to look into their bank accounts and be like, wow, when we see all their money disappear because it goes to the other dude's bank account. Like, it doesn't do anything for us, the viewers. Except
that what it does is it shows that Hangman Page isn't a stupid babyface. He's cunning. There's something behind the eyes there, and that's what's interesting about it.
Yeah. So he's not really like he's not completely rock bottom, right? Because I think that was a bit his character for a while. That's after the breakup with Kenny Omega and losing the tag team championships, kind of hit a slump. So maybe this is his way of getting back out of his slump.
It also shows that Matt Hardy isn't as dumb as everyone thinks he is, because clearly he knew that he switched the contract, or at least went and watched the footage, or at least had friends who told him what happened, and therefore he had Isaiah dress up in the mascot for the Jaguars come out and totally sabotage the whole entire night. It was fantastic. I love the whole Matt Hardy storyline and his new character. I love it. I love it. And Hangman Page, he's awesome. He's going to be the next big star.
He was on fire in that match. It was fantastic to see.
I'm sorry, but how much does Riho weigh?
I'm gonna guess maybe like 95 pounds.
I think they said 98.
Yeah, that's plausible.
Mm-hmm. Would you let Michael Nakazawa watch over your kids?
No.
Probably not. For being totally,
yeah.
I'm sure he's a sweet guy, but I mean, honestly, I'd probably be one of those insane helicopter parents anyway. So like nobody's watching my kids, but yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice. No.
No.
Don Callis or Michael Nakazawa? You had to choose one.
It's gonna be Nak. Uncle Creepy's not getting further. No. Uncle Creepy with the bad face. What happened to Don Callis' face this week?
I don't know.
I think he just fell asleep in a spray tan bed or something.
Yeah, like was that a rib, or did he do that on purpose, or like what happened?
It's got to be on purpose, because like you can't look at yourself in the mirror and be like,
that looks good.
Yeah, that looks good. Like, you know, like I don't know.
Does Marvez have teleportation superpowers?
At this point, I might as well believe it. Yeah.
Or Vanguard 1 is carrying him around, or whatever Vanguard 1's replacement was. He like just flies him around. He just like dangles from it like a helicopter. It'd be great.
Is Matt Sydal and Mike Sydal a tag team that we want to see on a regular basis moving forward?
Oh, definitely. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought they put on a good show.
It's all right. I mean, I think they're kind of more of a dark team than a Dynamite team, if I'm being totally honest.
They showed a lot more athleticism than I thought they would have probably had. So, I mean, like my bar for Matt Sydal was pretty low-ish. You know, like I didn't have too many expectations, but they put on a pretty good show.
You know, I think Matt Sydal is a really good wrestler. I think the problem with him, and I think this is why he's never really made it big, he's small in terms of height, and he's not good at cutting a promo.
I was going to say, like, not good at cutting a promo, but, like, I think in WWE, he was mostly, like, a singles player in WWE, right? So, I think, like, if he sticks with the tag team with his brother, it could help, you know, revive his career a bit.
Dude, I think he needs to stick to a tag team. It'll be the smart move, and everyone loves it when siblings pair up as a tag team.
And their gimmicks already go together. You know, they've got coordinating gimmicks, and they work very well together. Their movesets complement each other. You know, I'm willing. I mean, if it is like an actual tag team thing that's going to keep going, and it wasn't just, you know, again, his brother was in town for a little while, and they put him in some matches, which does seem to happen sometimes on AEW.
Okay, so once again, Jade shows up, sort of. She's in a video package, and she's the highlight of Dynamite for me. So this was like the most silliest of all segments on Dynamite this week, the video package, because it was like these random like close-ups of her playing basketball in slow motion, and random close-ups of Shaq licking his lips.
Oh my god.
Being super excited, watching her play basketball. I don't know if it was creepy or silly. It was amazing. So my question is, can Jade in 2021 beat Shaq in 2021 in basketball, one-on-one?
Oh, yeah, it seems like it.
My money's on Jade.
I mean,
she still has her own knees, right? So I think she's at an advantage there.
Yeah, it's like that video package is like, are they preparing for a wrestling match or is this a basketball match now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, my husband's really getting tired of me every time there's a Jade video package screaming at the television, "Fucking Jade wrestle!"
I'm sorry, but the fact that every time she shows up, it makes no sense, makes it even better. Like, I think it's an ongoing joke at this point.
It's for nothing.
best wrestler we've ever seen in our lives.
I know.
With
all these video packages and hyping up Jade Cargill, I'm like, oh my gosh, you better put on like a 5-star show, man, because it's like.
It makes me so nervous because I just feel like they're setting her up for, like, how can you possibly live up to these hype packages? How?
And Cody admitted on air that she's still green. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really worried for her. I mean, she seems like a nice person. Like, hopefully everyone's kind to her no matter what happens. But I guess we'll wait and see.
I'm hoping to God it works out because she is amazing. It's always a gigantic mess, but it's entertaining, and that's the thing I love about old school wrestling, like especially the WWF. The performances were so over the top. A lot of times, none of it made sense, but it was so fun to watch. I love her video packages. I love her logo. I love her name. I love her look. I love her attitude.
But can she wrestle?
No idea. But you know what? The Ultimate Warrior could not wrestle, and he was my favorite wrestler when I was a kid.
Yeah, but he's got the charisma. He's got the energy. Like, you just
he could cut. Well, actually, that's arguable.
Hold on a second, Aaron. Can you not imagine her running out like the Warrior to that music? Like, I can. She could do anything because, like, she's Jade. It's always a complete mess with her. She can come out and she can like pull off like an Undertaker Yokozuna like casket match, and she could be either Yokozuna and or Undertaker. It doesn't matter because she's Jade. She can do whatever she wants. Did Santana and Ortiz get screwed this week because of how the match ended?
No, they lost over the world's most devastating move. It's the roll-up pin.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were all pulling for them. Obviously, the internet seemed to be pulling for them, and so. Yeah, it was just a disappointing way to finish things because, like, we all knew, okay, the timing doesn't really make sense, but like we want this so bad, and then just to do it in, I guess, what's arguably a cheap move. I understand why people are cranky.
Okay, so Chris Jericho, he's kind of like in better shape, and I know they don't necessarily film every single episode of Dynamite live. I'm not entirely sure if they filmed last week's live or if this week's was live. But
this week's was live. You can tell if they do a pre-show on location, it means that the show's live.
Okay, because he's in a lot better shape than he was, say, like 3 weeks ago. He looks like he lost some weight. He's like doing some cardio. He looks good. Mm-hmm. That should have been a question, and it wasn't a question, so I apologize. Let me get to my question.
It was an observation.
Did Chris Jericho lose weight? Is my question.
Yeah, I mean, his 6-pack is definitely more defined. So, or it could be the lighting, because I noticed, like, I don't know, like when I watched him, like, I don't know, but when I watched him like wrestle, it was last week, right? They wrestled.
I mean, he's been on Dynamite every single week, and I think he did wrestle last week. I just feel like the last 3 weeks he looks like he's in better shape, because 3 weeks ago, or it was 4 weeks ago, when everyone was making fun of him on the internet because he couldn't pull off the lion salt, and then next week he actually does it. But in that episode, he still looks somewhat out of shape and out of breath.
The fact that he's still attempting it on a regular basis, like, cut the guy some slack.
Oh, what? Don't talk to me. Talk to the internet. Okay. I think he's great.
Hey, internet. Yeah.
So this was weird. Did anyone hear JR call the championship a WWE championship?
We all heard.
Yeah.
The whole world heard. Okay, so do we really want to see an exploding barbed wire hardcore match?
I would, because I've watched quite a bit of like Kenny Omega's matches like throughout the years, and he's never really done too many Actually, I don't know if he's ever really done any hardcore matches. Because like
I think the hardest core that I've seen him do was the Lights Out match with Moxley.
Yeah, exactly. That was the most hardcore match I've seen Kenny. So I'd be interested.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm morbidly curious. I think it's just going to be an excuse for a lot of silliness,
Mm-hmm.
kind of DDT style. But I'm here for it. Though to be fair, like I have a strong stomach. I have a stomach for death matches. I watch them for fun sometimes, not often. It's not my favorite thing, but I have a strong stomach. And that Omega Moxley match turned it. It was weird, especially when I found out that like half the spots they did were gimmicked. But like I was absolutely just like nauseous by the end of it. So I don't know. I'm hoping they keep it kind of silly on the sillier side of deathmatch, but I guess we'll see.
I'm not sure if I want to see it. Actually, I know I do not want to see it. So because it's happening, I hope it just ends up being a really good match. But I mean, look, even the last match he had with Eddie Kingston, I thought was really boring. Last question of the night. Did anyone feel awful watching Sting get powerbombed and take a heavy bump for what is basically a useless and shitty promo which does nothing to advance the story nor make the show better?
Something happened? Unlike when those promos usually happen? I don't know, it wasn't fun to look at. It wasn't fun to see. It made me uncomfortable, and yes, okay, everyone's excited something happened, but I don't know. Can we just get to Revolution, get this over with already?
Yeah, it made me uncomfortable because we're all like sitting back thinking it's like, oh my god, this is a 61-year-old man who had like neck surgeries and takes like a huge power bomb. So of course I was like scared for him. But I mean, post show Shivani said that he's okay. So I guess like it's just Sting trying to show the world that hey, maybe he can take a bump, and I hope he just takes a bump.
I don't care. I didn't like it. I was not comfortable watching it. He's 61 years old. He came off of a career-ending injury. It's a life-threatening injury. It's an injury that would totally change his life and has changed his life. There is no reason to do this. It just made no sense. The promo itself is useless, and what they've done with Sting so far has been absolutely, totally stupid. Sorry, AEW. I'm going to get really critical right now. We do not want to see Sting get injured over a stupid-ass promo, which made no sense just because a bunch of guys couldn't make it to the arena because of a snowstorm. Week after week after week, they don't do anything with Sting, and then they decide to powerbomb the guy. And I'm sure, like you said, Aaron, it was Sting's idea. But look, Sting's going to do that kind of thing. He's going to do whatever it takes to get someone over because he's Sting. He's a nice guy, and he wants people to succeed. It doesn't mean he's making the right choice, and Tony Khan should know better.
I think now might also be a good time to point out that Tully is booked in the match next week with FTR at 63. So, well... I don't know what's happening over at AEW.
I mean, I feel weird watching Jake the Snake clothesline someone.
Oh, I hate watching him bump.
I know. Like, forget about Sting getting powerbombed.
My grandpa get hurt. All right, so we're going to move on to our first topic for this evening's podcast, which is Sam leaving the Inner Circle. What is the future for the Inner Circle? I believe this was suggested by Ricky, so maybe you can start us off on this.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sammy. I'm a huge fan of the Inner Circle. It hasn't been great over the past, say, 8 weeks with the Inner Circle. It hasn't been terrible. It just hasn't been as good as it used to be. But the Inner Circle has been around since the very first episode of Dynamite. The final moments, I believe, it was the very end of the first episode that they formed the Inner Circle. And it was just like, 2 weeks ago or last week that Sammy actually left. Finally, we knew it was going to happen. Watching this week's episode of Dynamite, I kind of felt that, yes, the Inner Circle has been around for 2 years now, but I kind of felt like for the first time, it felt like the Inner Circle once again actually really mattered. Like we had Santana and Ortiz in a tag team championship match for the very first time, going for the gold. They felt dominant once again. They felt like they were actually the faction to look out for in AEW. Forget Kenny Omega and his goons, right? Forget Eddie Kingston and his goons. Forget all of the factions. It's all about the Inner Circle. I really do think the Inner Circle has always made Dynamite a better show. Yes, they have their moments where it doesn't always hit. Sometimes it is a miss. But let's face it, Jericho is Jericho. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, even when he's not always in the best of shape. They have MJF. They have what I think is maybe the second best tag team in AEW. And the fact that Sammy Guevara, who's I think my favorite wrestler, has left the Inner Circle, and now there's clearly a feud and a beef between him and his former colleagues, I think that's going to make for better television. So I'm even more excited now for the Inner Circle moving forward, and I can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it was the right time to shake things up for the entire faction. You know, we were getting it was getting kind of samey, and you know, I was kind of thinking maybe they were also going to be transitioning Santana and Ortiz, maybe, you know, out of Inner Circle or whatever.
Yeah.
What happened last night seems to indicate that they're, you know, ride or die, but I'm really curious to see where things are going now, and much more interested than I have been in a long time.
Yeah, there was a nice play on after the match, like when Inner Circle jumped in and you see Ortiz sitting in the middle of the ring with his head hanging down.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a really good character moment, because like,
yeah, because they did initially seem upset that they were coming in to beat up the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, okay, we lost, and now you got to kind of rub it in by beating up the guys. But then by the end of it, they're like, woo, we rock.
Yeah, but like it also puts the question, because like, what is Ortiz thinking? Because like, are they better with or without the Inner Circle? Like, because I don't know if you guys saw like the Sammy Guevara vlog, like the latest one. But at the end, at the end, you know, you had Sammy Guevara talking to Santana and Ortiz, and kind of like Sammy telling him, like, you guys are like the best tag team in the world, blah blah, like really, like, you know, putting them into question, and
you're the best tag team in the world, and you're not even like the number one tag team in this faction.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, the Inner Circle storyline right now is really interesting, because like clearly, like, it's slowly crumbling, or maybe like that's the impression I'm getting right now, is that it's slowly crumbling. Like right now, like, the people holding the Inner Circle together is like Chris Jericho and MJF, and then you just got Hager in the background screaming championships. So,
which is one of my favorite things ever. But
yeah,
well, that's the funny thing about the Inner Circle. So the best guy in the faction leaves the Inner Circle. They think they are stronger, which they are not. The best tag team in the Inner Circle loses a match. They lose their shot at the title. So now MJF and Jericho, who aren't really a tag team, are now going to get the shot at the belt. And meanwhile, Hager and Wardlow, who are the biggest and most dominant forces in the faction, they never even wrestle or do anything. And Wardlow, I think, has the most potential of all of those guys to be a heavyweight champion in the future, because he's great.
Seriously, what is happening with Wardlow?
Yeah,
maybe he needs to join the Dark Order. Maybe that they'll start booking him in matches then.
The reason why I'm not in a rush for the Inner Circle to completely break up is because, let's face it, they only have one show. We say this each and every single week on the podcast, and there's only so much time in a 2-hour show to showcase everyone. So at least Wardlow has something to do, even if he's just standing in the background part of the Inner Circle. He has an excuse not to do anything, basically. If they break up the Inner Circle and he's not in any great wrestling matches or going for a championship belt, that could sort of like ruin him.
Yeah.
So, like, at least he has an excuse, unlike, say, take your pick out of anyone in the roster who should be in a big match but isn't, which is just about everyone, because it's always like Moxley and Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Ortiz and Santana beat the Young Bucks and have Santana and Ortiz face off against Jericho and MJF.
I feel like they have to. At some point down the line, because everyone was just so behind them. And you know, they are, I do like that they are kind of drawing out the whole dissolving of the Inner Circle and creating these questions about Santana and Ortiz, and like, are they going to follow them? Are they not? But like, they need the belts. They just need the belts. They just, you know, and okay, so have their beef be with Jericho and MJF, like, fantastic television. Like, let's just do it. Like, obviously these things have to happen because they're just gonna be awesome when they do happen.
Plus, I think like Santana and Ortiz can carry their own weight, so they don't need the Inner Circle.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I mean, it's awesome that they are in it, so we get to see them more often. But I mean, I think the biggest thing is we just want to see them wrestle more because they're so good.
Okay, so let's go back to Sammy. So what exactly happened to him and Impact? I heard some rumors, but I've been really busy this week, so I don't know the whole story.
Well, he was supposed to make an appearance at the pay-per-view event this past Saturday called No Surrender. So they had a spot for him to show. Apparently, Impact had a spot for him to show up. Tony Khan agreed to it. Sammy agreed to it at the time, but apparently, like a few hours before the taping of the show, like they had like a conflict of
conflict of interest.
No, not conflict of interest, but Sammy didn't like the story that Impact.
They're creative differences.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, creative differences. So Sammy wasn't happy about it, and apparently one article reported that Chris Jericho texted him like a few hours before taping too, saying like, don't do it. So
yeah, the version of the story that I heard was basically Impact wanted somebody to come to the pay-per-view. They're gonna do Sammy. Tony Khan said okay. Sammy said okay. Then Sammy got the creative, didn't love it, and instead of going back to AEW, started texting directly with Impact people. Some higher ups in Impact didn't take too kindly to this, got in touch with Tony. Tony calls Jericho. Impact's all mad. They don't want to do it anymore. And so it ends up being Jericho texting Sammy while he's on his way. Like he was in Nashville. He was in Nashville, getting ready to do the taping, and they were like, they don't want you anymore. Go home.
Man, you know what? I'm not at all like happy with this Impact partnership.
Well, and they gave the spot to a guy in a bull costume, so like I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question for both of you. Like, have you watched any Impact matches and or the TV show and or the pay-per-view since they formed this partnership with AEW?
Yeah, I watched a few Impact shows. I mean, like it was
because it's harder for us to find in Canada.
No, if you go on Twitch, you can watch it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. They do have it on Twitch.
Okay, so you watched Aaron. So like, what's it like? Because I, honest to God, have no interest in watching this promotion. I don't care who's on it. Like, I don't like this crossover.
The show is definitely like low. It's definitely like I find it smaller than like production value is definitely like smaller than AEW.
Yeah, they have a much smaller budget, and also not having any sort of crowd whatsoever. I think also makes it feel a lot smaller.
Well, now they started pumping out like fake crowd noises, but I don't know if that helps much. Like I haven't watched like in a good like week or two, but I still like keep track of like the highlights and what goes on, because I mean like they're watching Impact the first time in a long time, like last month. It introduced me to like new wrestlers, and some of them are actually pretty good. Like
yeah, they have a lot of great talent. Like I know Jordan Grace is there. I'm a big fan of hers.
Jordan Grace is there. It brought to my attention a Filipino wrestler named TJP. Like I don't see many.
Yeah. So, I think he did a Dark episode like ages ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As enhancement talent, but like ages and ages ago. It might have been last year.
I think it's a really great thing that Tony Khan is promoting Impact, because they are, compared to AEW, they're like the small guys. You know, they don't have like the ratings that AEW has, and they don't have the money that AEW has. It's really nice of him to hire wrestlers to appear on Dark, because everyone right now is suffering because of COVID, you know, and so on and so forth. Fantastic. But you're going to send one of your top stars to Impact. Why not send some of the stars that don't get enough airtime on Dynamite and or Dark, who are up and coming, who are still great, because AEW has a fantastic roster.
That is true. Like I wouldn't disagree. I mean, because like right now the only people crossing over from Impact is like the Good Brothers,
and the Private Party's been on Impact.
Yeah, Private Party's been on Impact. I mean, they had a title shot on Saturday, so
I was just going to say that what I don't understand about, and again, I don't know what exactly it is they wanted Sammy to do that he did not want to do, and that Jericho even thought was a stupid idea. But Sammy just left the Inner Circle. They have this storyline going on between him and the Inner Circle. It's a big move for him as an individual superstar, and it's a big move for AEW because he's the kind of guy that should be the face of the company in terms of like the baby face. You know, when you think of heels, we could think of Kenny Omega right now. We can think of MJF. We can think of Jericho as a heel. They have plenty of guys that can be the heel, like the guy that kind of sells tickets type thing. When it comes to baby faces, right now, Sammy's their best bet. And he's got the talent, he's got the looks, and he's now part of a storyline where it pits him against one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Chris Jericho. So why would you take him out of the storyline and put him and shove him into what I think sounds like a shitty storyline based on the fact that he didn't want to do it on a wrestling promotion and nobody watches? It makes no sense.
Well, because like for me, like my fantasy storyline was when Sammy Guevara like left Inner Circle was I actually wanted him to go to TNA because it would give him the opportunity to grow even more as a wrestler, and he would immediately get a title shot because I wanted him to go into like the X division and challenge TJP, who is almost similarly like the same style as Sammy Guevara. You know, like they're both highly athletic, like wrestlers, high flying. I thought it would have been like a dream matchup having those two, and it gives, like I said, like it gives Sammy a title shot. So.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting for his character, you know, leaving one promotion, going to another, getting his confidence and his, you know, his baby faceness, and coming back as the conquering hero. You know, story-wise, I think there's a lot that could have been done with it. It just sucks that whatever they had in mind just probably wasn't that good to start with.
Right. See, I thought what they were going to do is I thought Santana and Ortiz were actually going to pull off the win. MJF and Jericho would have Wardlow somehow interfere, even though it's like an Inner Circle versus Inner Circle match. Something would go weird or odd, and Sammy would run out and save the day, and therefore the Inner Circle would explode, and he would become the babyface.
I mean, that's one way to do it, but I think there's still time to get that Santana and Ortiz versus Jericho and MJF for the tag belts to really... Yeah, whether that's, you know, the reason they leave the Inner Circle, or, you know, if it's after, you know, new factions have been created from the ashes. But, yeah, I think they still have time to do that. And I think not doing it ever is, I don't know, that doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. Like, why make up a fake tag team if you're not going to have it be about beef with the legit tag team in your faction? Like,
yeah, exactly.
If you take Santana and Ortiz and you give them the tag team championship, and you give Wardlow the heavyweight championship, and you give Sammy the TNT championship, those four guys I think can lead AEW and generate double, maybe not double, but get bigger and better ratings for the company. I think they're that good, and I think they're that good on the microphone.
I hope you're right. Maybe not this year, but I mean, I agree that those guys should be, you know, the future of the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree they should be the future of the company. I just don't think, you know, now would be the time to do it.
You know, I think that at the start they were really trying to build this whole Jungle Boy versus MJF. Jungle Boy would be the face and MJF would be the heel. And I think eventually they changed their mind and they decided, you know what, Sammy's got more potential than Jungle Boy. Let's make Sammy the babyface and MJF the heel. MJF to Shawn Michaels, Sammy to Bret the Hitman Hart.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Jungle Boy is also still in a super popular tag team, so breaking them up now for him to have a singles thing doesn't make any sense. So it makes more sense to keep him with Luchasaurus, have them have some kind of epic feud with somebody, and let the singles guys have their own beef.
Yeah.
Do you think they should have like broken up the entire Inner Circle at this point, or is it okay that just one member left?
Not now. You don't want to like explode all in like one show, right? You want that slow trickle. You know?
Yeah, draw it out, just like you've been drawing out this whole Sting BS.
That now in the worst state is welcome.
And on that note, I think it's time to move on to the main event.
Something I gotta get off my chest. See, last week, Sammy Guevara, you crossed the line with zero evidence. Because why? Because you thought I was recording you? Sammy, what kind of dunce do you think I am? You think I'm gonna record you in secret when there's a camera on me? And yet, with all these facts staring you straight in your paranoid little stupid squinty face, you have yet to nut up and apologize to me like a grown man. Max, would you shut up? Would you shut up already, okay? Listen, we all know what you were trying to do. Okay, everyone was watching Dynamite last week, and the week before that, and the week before that, as you kept goading Sammy and pushing him over the edge, and congratulations, it worked! Sammy quit the Inner Circle. Good job, buddy. A lot of this is your fault. But the majority of this is Sammy Guevara's fault. You're damn right. Shut up. I wanted Max and Sammy to be in each other's faces, to make each other better. MJF learned this. Sammy did not. And after bad choice, after bad choice, after bad choice, and a week of stupid decisions, the dumbest decision of all was quitting the Inner Circle. Because when you walk out on the Inner Circle, you walk out on Chris Jericho. And for that reason, Sammy Guevara, you are dead to me. And I don't ever want to hear that son of a bitch's name ever again. You understand?
And we're back talking about the Women's Eliminator Tournament and specifically the return of Riho. Aaron, what'd you think of the match?
Dude, it was a great match. I mean, like, it just showcased so much, like, the technical prowesses of, like, Serena Deeb and Riho. I mean, they and just Serena Deeb's, like, acting chops, selling that knee. Like, I was legit scared for the entire match. I was, like, on the edge of my seat.
Was she injured for real?
I don't think so. I think it was a work.
Yeah, I think it was a work.
Yeah, I mean, they sold it with the doctor coming out and everything, but
I know.
Like we discussed.
That doctor sold me, man.
Yeah, it's confusing because he is the real doctor, but they've used him in other spots before where it was clearly kayfabe. So,
yeah.
But I mean, booking wise, it makes sense to have the NWA Women's Championship holder, having to fight through an injury.
Yeah.
And losing, but I definitely think the right person went over. I mean, we always forget how much the crowd loves Riho.
Well, I mean, we talked about this last week. I predicted wrong. I said that Serena Deeb would win.
I think we all predicted wrong.
Mariko is pulling for Riho.
Yeah, no, we haven't seen her in a year. They bring her back in a tournament. She's out in the first round. No way.
But it made sense. Like, I never thought that they would actually have her fake an injury, so therefore it wouldn't really technically ruin her reputation, and therefore Riho would win. But what I am surprised about is the fact that people were surprised that this match was good, because I went back and I looked at my list of the 20 best matches of 2020. And Serena Deeb is on that list because of her match with Thunder Rosa. And Riho is on that list because of her match with Nyla Rose. So both of those ladies made my list of the 20 best matches of 2020. So they've already proven in the past that they can put on a great match. And Serena Deeb, of course, later proved that she could put on a great match with, was it Britt Baker? She had a great match with someone else. She's been on Dark a bunch of times. And
was
Riho,
it the Layla Hirsch match we were talking about?
Was it? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was the Layla Hirsch match. Yeah. But yeah, that's the other thing about Riho that we tend to forget is how experienced she is.
Yeah.
And like, I was saying in the group chat, we forget how experienced Riho is. And the fact is, I think this is one of Riho's best matches in all of AEW. And I think it has a lot to do with her finally being able to fight someone who's at the same experience level. She's so young. We forget that she's been doing this for like 15 years.
Serena Deeb is, I think, the best women's wrestler in AEW, even though she's not technically part of the roster. Thunder Rosa a close second. I'm not sure where I would rank Riho. I know she's not far behind. I do think Serena Deeb is a better wrestler, but I am a big fan of Riho. I understand she only weighs 98 pounds. I don't care. She's fantastic.
That was the thing about... Yeah, keep going, sorry.
What I find amazing about Serena Deeb is she stopped wrestling for like 4 years, and she's still at the top of her game. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, she also does competitive yoga, apparently. So that was one thing that I liked about that. The match was just booked so well. Like, it made Riho convincing. They're both so lithe and flexible. They were doing all these great, like, you know, arching out of submissions and things, you know, and, you know, the different submissions that they could do because they're both so flexible, was really great. You know, it started off very, very technical, but then, you know, they realized that they were too evenly matched, and you just saw like the aggression come out of Serena Deeb, and then Riho having to, you know, go deep and bring the same intensity. And like, I've never really felt like of a Riho puncher, like, you know, intensity, I don't know, is a word that's often used to describe her style of wrestling. That was one of the most intense women's matches I've seen on Dynamite. Like, it was a war. And it was like these like thin, lithe women, but it was an absolute war.
Yeah, like I said, like it was just like just great back and forth. Like you kept thinking, it's like because like Serena Deeb was selling her injury, so I just kept thinking like, well, there's no way like she could finish this match. Like I said, like I thought she was legitimately injured, but at the same time, like this woman is such a warrior, like fighting through like her injuries, still like, you know, taking all these hits and all these submission holes and everything, and it was crazy
they were really trading blows. Yeah.
Why would they put Serena Deeb in the first match with Riho if they know they want Riho to advance and Serena Deeb is maybe the best wrestler in the division? Why did they put Serena Deeb in a different bracket? So she faces someone who they know is not going to advance to the second round. Because then we can have Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, Riho, and Serena Deeb in the second round.
I don't know. I feel like we've already seen those first three women battle each other. I want to see something a little bit different. We can get back to them once the tournament's done.
Yeah, exactly. And
but also, like Riho's, I don't know. Anyways.
Well, Riho has been gone for a while, right? I don't think she was even wrestling like in Japan, was she?
I think she was like doing some but I think she had done a couple of those like closed stadium matches in Japan, but she hasn't been wrestling regularly, and certainly not in front of people.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think it was a great spot to put Riho in, like against Serena Deeb, because Serena Deeb like was like the current NWA Women's Champion against like, you know, former AEW champion. So on paper, I thought it was a good card. So
and I think it's more for Riho to winning at this point, and winning against someone like Serena Deeb. Like, it really just elevates her. Like, we haven't seen her for over a year, and just to immediately be like, she managed to beat the NWA women's, like, that means something. And the match made it mean something too.
And the announcers were you know, selling how she hasn't wrestled like in months or like in a year, so it was a good spot to put her over back into like contendership, you know.
Yeah, and really legitimize her skills too by having her go over such a legitimate wrestler in such a competitive, hard-hitting match.
Yeah, and like an insanely technical wrestler too in Serena Deeb. So I can't say like I've seen many of Riho's matches, but this is definitely like the most like technical match I've seen Riho in. So it was a good spot.
No, I think it's also the best match Riho's been at AEW. I'm mostly saying that just because I haven't seen a lot of her work outside of AEW. I don't think I've seen like maybe one or like mixed tag match she did with Kenny in a dojo, but I haven't seen a lot of her other work, and this was by far the best thing she's done in AEW, like hands down. I mean, she's had some very good matches, but this was just on another level altogether.
Yeah.
Wow, I actually prefer her first match. I think it was her first, maybe her second, but I think it was her first match with Nyla Rose. That match blew me away. But this was a very good match. But now she's going to face Thunder Rosa, so we know we're going to get a great match with Thunder Rosa. I kind of feel like Thunder Rosa can wrestle anyone to make them look good. She could wrestle Luther and make him look like a superstar, okay? But I'm looking at the bracket and I take it back. And I only take it back because I did not realize the talent involved in this tournament on the left side of the bracket. Because we still have Ty Conti, Nyla Rose, Dr. Britt Baker, and Anna Jay. So even if they were to put Riho against any one of those ladies, I don't really know who I would want to win. Like, I can flip a coin. I could be happy with anyone winning because I like everyone. But yeah, wow, this is. I mean, they say that the women's division is weak in AEW, and I totally disagree. I think the booking is weak. Like, the writers' room needs help, but the wrestlers are pretty awesome.
No, there's definitely talent in the women's division in AEW.
Yeah, and they're getting better at showcasing it. Putting on the Eliminator tournament matches earlier in the night, I think has helped. And one thing I'm curious about is Big Swole injured, because I don't understand what she's done in the tournament.
That is true. Now that you mention it, it's like why isn't Big Swole in the tournament? She must be injured. She must be injured, but I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed that they have her working with Red Velvet almost in like a managerial role on Dark. They came out together, so I don't know if that's got anything to do with it.
Okay, so
or she's just doing that because she is injured and can't wrestle herself. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but did you watch the Monday night YouTube tournament from Japan, the right side of the bracket? Because I didn't have a chance to watch it. I want to know what it was like.
Yeah, I watched it.
We both watched it. It was strange because it is empty arena. And I mean, that was the argument you guys were making last week that, you know, the presentation wouldn't match. And after seeing it, I'm kind of like, I understand why this is on YouTube.
The presentation was a lot actually lower than I expected. Like,
it deserved to be on YouTube as far as presentation wise.
Okay, so what do you mean? How bad was it?
It just looked like, you know,
it looked like a school gym.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it.
Okay, so there was like no crowd, I guess.
No.
Okay.
No, very little dressing up. I don't know if it's just like the rings are slightly smaller in Japan, or if it's just the way that they were filming it, but the ring looked really small. It was just kind of weird, you know, when you're used to the presentation of Dark and Dynamite. It was markedly different.
Yeah.
Okay, and by the way, we talked about this last week. We weren't really sure, but the updated graphic for the tournament, it says that the final match is March 7th on Revolution.
Yeah, no, that's not the final. That's the match against Shida.
Yeah. So like the match against Shida is in Revolution.
I'm looking at the graphic, and the way it connects, the finals connects to Revolution.
No. It says on the graphic, women's will face AEW champion Hikaru Shida on Revolution.
Okay, I think you're right. I just think that the graphic confuses people.
Well, the American side of the bracket is going to continue on Monday. Well, so far we have four matches announced for the Revolution card.
Yes, we have the Sting cinematic match with Darby Allin versus Team Taz.
You have the street fight. You have the money match.
The money match is Hangman Page versus Matt Hardy. And then we have the Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley barbed wire explosion match.
Oh, and you have the ladder match for the TNT Championship.
Oh, that's right.
So the ladder match has been announced, but they haven't made it official who the remaining three competitors will be.
Yeah, they've announced 3. It's Cody, Scorpio Sky, and Penta.
So clearly we all want Rey Fenix in the match, right? Come on, be amazing.
it would be a nice wrinkle to I don't know. Do you want Rey Fenix?
You're gonna have a ladder match without Rey Fenix?
I know, but
without the Lucha Brothers, the kings of the ladder match, the current kings of the ladder match.
I just think back of when Penta was taken hostage by Eddie Kingston, and you had Rey Fenix crying can you really see them face each other? Well, actually, no, they have faced.
They have, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, I would be happy with Sammy and Phoenix. I don't know who the last man I would choose would be. But anyways, back to the women's division. So, yeah, it hasn't actually been made official if the championship match will take place in Revolution. And maybe it's because they need to make sure the competitor, whoever the winner is still in shape and is ready to go. I don't think they want to make that kind of promise because they are going to win the tournament probably a few days before the actual pay-per-view. So maybe that is why they haven't made it official. That's what I'm guessing.
I'm guessing that it's probably already decided by now because of COVID protocols, because they have to be in quarantine. So I wouldn't be surprised if this entire Japanese bracket has already been filmed.
Well, yeah, no, Aaron, you're right. On the right side of the bracket, the Japanese winner has already been pretty much declared. They have maybe already filmed the match because they need to fly her to the USA. She might have to quarantine for a few days. Who knows? So that is a given. And then they're going to be doing they are going to do 2 matches on the left side of the bracket, the US side of the bracket, on Monday, and then the final match will be on Dynamite, the next episode of Dynamite. So the next episode of Dynamite, we're going to know what the next round is going to be like. So last week, we discussed the idea of them putting the tournament on YouTube. So now both of you are saying it's actually a good thing because the quality was so bad.
Well, that was... Yeah, but that was my worry. The quality was going to be bad because it's empty arena. I thought it was going to be an arena, but it ended up being a lot smaller than an arena. So
yeah, and I have to say I was very surprised by the booking. I mean, I didn't get any of my predictions correctly. I assumed that this was going to be on the Japanese side a showcase for new talent, which I guess it was, but that didn't mean that any of them were going to go over. So
well, they did go over because after the match, internet, on Twitter especially, you see a lot of
No, but I mean go over as in win cleanly, but
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did seem to create buzz, and Omega did have to come out and be like, yeah, we're gonna keep using these guys, don't worry.
And you have the Dark Order reaching out to Maki Ito now, so.
Really? Oh, that makes me. No, I didn't see any of that. What?
Oh no.
I don't do Twitter. If this is happening on Twitter, that's why I don't know. I don't do too much Twitter either. I only get my news when I get out. But I've been seeing John Silver at tweeting at Miko, Maki Ito, at Alex Reynolds tweet Maki Ito. I was like, oh, this is so fun, and she's responding, so yeah, no, she's so smart on social
Aaron,
media.
You're not kidding. This is not low budget. This is below low budget. This is not even a high school gym. This is a bedroom. It's a room.
This is sadly sort of the state of women's wrestling in Japan at the moment because of all of the quarantine measures.
Wow, they actually have the ref wearing a full-out face shield.
Yeah, we have Gato move that looks like it's being inside a shop. But is that where they wrestle usually?
Hmm?
Well, because I was watching the Gato move wrestling matches too. Because I think Kushida made an appearance there too. So I was watching. But do they usually wrestle in a shop? Because it looked like a shop.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I honestly think it's a converted school. I've seen a lot of the matches that they do just on mats on the floor without a ring. Yeah, is a thing that they do a lot at Gato Move. Yeah, I mean it's a much smaller, it's a small promotion with not a lot of money, but they've got Emi Sakura who has an eye for talent, so that's largely why she's involved.
But that's also what I appreciate with this Japanese bracket too, because it makes you, if you like the wrestlers, right, and it'll make you want to like explore their background and stuff, and hopefully like the fans are going to do the same thing. So
Yeah, if they get to YouTube and if they watch it, and,
But it's no different. It's no different than any sort of like small promotion around the world, past, present, and or future. So as long as the wrestlers have talent and this promotion is helping those wrestlers move on to bigger and better things like AEW, WWE, I don't know, like Ring of Honor, you name it. It's not a bad thing. I mean, you know what? The pandemic sucks, and because of it, a lot of wrestling promotions are hurt left and right. And
yeah.
it's like it is what it is. And I guess in Japan they're a little bit more strict than say like Florida, where people can have a Super Bowl. Here the referee has to wear a face shield. So I'm not gonna like be angry or upset about the fact that they're trying to be safe.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel bad a little bit criticizing the aesthetics of it, but when you're used to watching things presented in a certain way and it's not at the same level, like you notice it, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? I focus less on like after a while, like when you focus on the matches, like you kind of forget the arena, because like I thought the matches were good.
No, they were very, very well booked.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people I'd never seen before came out very well. I was really impressed with Venny. I didn't realize they were such a high flyer.
Yeah, me too.
They were just pulling off some fantastic flippy, dippy stuff.
Well, yeah. And Maki Ito was just being Maki Ito, right? Because like
she was fantastic. She sang her theme song when she came out, which is her thing. Super over.
And her headbutt is just to die for.
So good. Yeah, the Kokeshi smash. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So the last thing I'm going to say for the podcast this week, you talk about the quality of the promotion and what you focused on. And Aaron and I were text messaging like last Friday during SmackDown. He's like, yeah, I'm going to watch SmackDown. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot because I haven't watched SmackDown in, like a year? So I sit down and watch SmackDown, and I'm blown away by the quality because I forget how great the quality is of the WWE. Like the cameras, the cinematography, the lighting, etc., etc. And then I was like really bored, like really quickly. And it just goes to show that you can have all the money in the world, the best cameraman, the best lighting, the best, cameras, the best cinematography, the best production values, whatever. If your wrestling program is boring, you can't hide the fact that it's boring. Like, no offense to WWE, I wish it was better because I think they have incredible talent. Like, I wish some of those wrestlers would come to AEW, like Otis, Sasha Banks, like you name it. They have such amazing wrestlers. Do you know it took 12 minutes for Roman Reigns to get to the ring and start talking? That's how they open up their show. And people complain about Cody Rhodes taking too long. I'm like, guys, have you watched WWE? But yeah, so
like if it's, I would not suggest that. Well, if they've been away from like WWE for a while, like don't watch Raw, because like I still don't understand why this show is 3 hours.
I do not know, but that's why I do not want AEW to make the next show 2 hours. 1 hour sounds great, like Tony Khan wants, because I don't have that much time in my life for wrestling. That's why I don't like the whole Impact crossover. I'm not going to watch Impact. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't have time to watch Impact. I would prefer to watch a movie or WandaVision or whatever TV show over Impact because I'm not interested. I know people are, but I'm not.
Yeah, for me, like it's been a great year. Like when I think about it now, like this year or like the past, actually no, this year is probably like the most that I've been interested in watching like almost all the promotions in wrestling, just because like I want to see like all these talents that everyone's talking about. AEW also does a great job of like promoting like all the other talents around the other promotions, So I mean, for me, like I don't mind watching like all. I'm not gonna follow like Impact too much, but I still try to keep a pulse on it because, like like I said earlier on the podcast, that they're because of the stuff that happened in AEW, it helped me discover like new talent in Impact. So I'm still curious to see that.
Last question of the night: who do you think now, based on what we've seen, is going to win the tournament?
Oh my goodness. I really don't know. I mean, a Riho Shida match, I don't think we've seen that yet, and that's something I really want to see. But I don't know. Like, I don't even know who I want to see in the finals.
I have a strong feeling it's gonna be Britt Baker because.
Okay, but if Britt is in the tournament, then if Britt is in the finals, then she has to win against Shida.
Yeah. Because I still had the lingering feeling that there's still a strong push for Britt Baker. Like I had a hard time believing it watching this bracket, but like after taking a look now, I mean I can see Riho beating Thunder Rosa, and you'll probably get Riho against Britt Baker in the semifinals. Yeah, I think Britt Baker would be like I would put money on Britt Baker to win the entire tournament.
I'm gonna say Britt Baker, but I think Britt Baker is gonna face Thunder Rosa in the semifinals, and then she's gonna face whoever in the finals and face Shida at Revolution. So I'm going for Britt Baker too.
Yeah, that would be a good card too.
Yeah, I'm prepared to be proven wrong, but the fact that Riho went over this week, and I don't love Anna Jay or Tay Conti's chances, so yeah, I'm thinking Britt's. I think the smart money is going to be on Britt. All right, and on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up. Thank you all for joining us, and thanks again to Aaron Santos.
Thank you for having me.
This once again has been Talk AEW, brought to you by GoombaStomp.com and TiltMagazine.com. And taking us out is Ricky D.
Just a quick reminder that you can find us on Twitter. The Twitter handle is Talk AEW Podcast. And of course, you can find the podcast, all the episodes, the archive, and all the links to where you can listen to the podcast over at GoombaStomp.com.
Inner Circle.